Pentagon press corps has left the building, like Elvis, and now they're trying to cover the building from outside the building. I don't know. You can ask people to meet you at the Starbucks and the
Yeah.
food court. So, first question, Sean. I've been there. I've been in that press area only once in my career. Is it possible to cover the building without being inside the building? Like, what kind of access do they have? They don't really have much access. They can't
Well,
walk
let,
around.
let, let me let me back up just a second. And I'm being serious for both of you. Have you ever been to pick your other department agency, to Health and Human Services,
Yeah,
Education? Okay.
I've been to most of them.
Okay, good. Can you walk into any of them?
No, you have very little access. You basically
Correct.
you have to be escorted.
Correct.
Yeah,
So the Department of Defense, and I say that because people need to understand what happens here. So at the Pentagon, when you apply for a press badge and get credentialed, you get a badge. It's a different color than well, now everyone wears a cat card, but that's neither here nor there. So you get a colored badge, and you can walk pretty much anywhere you want. Okay, obviously, when you go into a particular office, if they have a SCIF, a secure room, just like any other military or civilian or contractor, you have to be cleared to go into that particular room. But when I worked on the Joint Staff or the Office of Secretary of Defense, or even in Chief, you can literally, a reporter can walk into the office, sit down next to your desk, and
I thought it was a little more limited than it used to be. Is
no,
that not the
no.
case?
So that's one of the policies that the secretary and his team are saying, is that you have to be escorted.
Yeah,
Which, frankly, remember, in any other building, when you go to Health and Human Services or
you have to be
Education or whatever,
escorted.
you
Have to be
can't. Yeah,
escorted.
right. So now it's saying you don't have free reign. You can still go to the food court, by the way,
Yeah.
which is downstairs. But you can't just willy-nilly walk around the building. The controversial piece, as I understand it, and by the way, I'm literally reading the updated policy right now, because it says, to be clear, these regulations are the laws and regulations that apply to military members and DoD civilian contractors. Members of the news media are not required to submit written writings to the Department of War for approval. This is the actual policy that's been submitted. I don't think that what you're reading, what the news media is reading, is actually what the
All right,
policy
all right,
is.
all right.
That is the
Hold on.
exact
I
policy.
I have to pull you out of the weeds. I apologize for pulling you out of the weeds. How is this going to end? Are the reporters going to come back, or are we going to have
I don't think
no?
so. I don't think they can. Look, bottom line is the big controversy is you can't go in and take classified information the same way that a military member or a department or contractor. If you're getting
Yeah,
access to a building,
yeah,
you can't violate the law.
right. But Dan, why are so many news organizations not willing to abide by this?
Because the idea that you can't talk to people without express kind of permission from the government
No,
is
in the building. By the way, in the building.
Yeah,
it's
but that's
fine.
how
It's
that's
but
how reporting happens.
that is bonkers. I mean, that is like, maybe it's a point of agreement with China. Like,
Yeah,
great, we're both going to just control our press.
There's three options. The Pentagon no longer has a press corps. The administration changes the policy, or the news organizations cave, which is going to happen.
I think there will quietly be a deal worked out. I mean, look, this isn't just the New York Times or Washington Post. This is Newsmax, Fox News. Like, this is like across the board. Other than, I think it's only the On Network. I think One America is the only one that signed it.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone else is like, no.
I will
So
say
Okay,
this.
so
I
hold
think
on.
it'll work
But
out.
here's what I
Yeah.
want to flesh out. But again, I'll get out of the weeds.
Yep.
What that you know of the policy is objectionable. Just tell me
That
what.
that I have to get permission to talk to people within the building. When people in the Pentagon leaked about how dysfunctional the Afghanistan withdrawal was that bad? That
No,
they
no,
leaked it?
but they don't have to get
Yeah,
permission. You
Yes, they
can't walk in.
do.
No, you cannot walk into any building in the United.
It's
And
objectionable to it's also objectionable to put a blanket ban on publishing information that might be in the public interest. News organizations in this country show remarkable deference, and
right.
in my view, sometimes excessive deference to the federal government when they say, don't publish this because it jeopardizes national security. As
Right.
you know well, Sean, things
I,
are overclassified like crazy in our
yeah,
government. So
sure.
to say to news organizations, we will decide what you can publish.
Exactly.
So,
We
but I just read you the policy that says here,
it says
members
you
of
have
the
to
news media
submit
are
things in
not
advance.
required to submit
No,
their
that's
writings
yeah.
to the Department of War.
No pre-publication review is different than saying you are required to sign a document saying you won't publish classified material.
No, no.
I
This
mean,
That
it's
you
just
gain by coming. Hold on. Just again, remember, there's a difference. If I want to stand outside the Pentagon or pick up the phone and call every source, which is what you do at every other department, okay? Every other department, you pick up the phone. Hey, meet me at the Starbucks. I'll
yeah,
call you on your thing.
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
text you on Signal.
yeah.
That's normal reporting. The idea that the Pentagon right now, current policy is you get to come into our building, you get to walk around free reign.
It's not Pete Hegseth's building. It belongs to the people of the United States.
So does
This is
every other
part of
building.
it. This is part of
Why
the.
can't they walk into
They
HHS?
should.
it's
They
not
should.
about walking.
They
We're
should be.
debating the
It's
wrong
not. I
point.
agree,
And
Dan. It's not about walking.
that's
But Sean,
right.
when Pete Hegseth says it's not a right to cover the Pentagon,
No, that's not what he said.
he did say it. He did say it. He did say it. He said you have no right to cover the Pentagon. It's a privilege. That is bullshit. To say that it's a privilege to exercise on behalf of the public interest the ability to cover what a department that lies to the American people under Democrat and Republican administrations habitually and historically, to say that it's a privilege to be able to cover the Pentagon is bullshit.
And
That's
by the
fine.
way,
Of all the policies, I'm sorry, of all the policies that the Pentagon and this entire administration has put forward that have been criticized as antithetical to the First Amendment or American traditions, this is truly one of the worst, and it will not stand. Although I believe that most of the things where the press predicts this will not stand because it's violating norms, this one will not stand. And as Dan pointed out, it will not stand because no serious news organization could accept this. And by the way, it's not about the rights of the press or the privileges of the press. It's the ability of the American people to be confident that the press will hold accountable the Department of Defense, which kills people and spends a ton of our tax money and is now running free with no reporters in the building. Dan.
well, and I'll just say, broadly speaking, it is not just the Pentagon, right? Sean, you probably agree, and Mark, I know you do, having been in the game so long. Government lies.
Yeah.
Government cheats. Government does things they're not supposed to do. The idea that, and this is like one of the Trump talking points, treat us well and trust us. Like, you should never trust your government. This is from a Democrat who spent a lot of time in government. I would not
100%.
trust them.
I just want to be clear on my
And it's
position,
outrageous
which is,
that
look, I am a
talking point.
believer in a free press. I've press that holds people accountable, especially our government, because I don't even just believe whether it's Republican or Democrat. I believe that the bureaucracy is a problem, regardless of administration, should be
And
held
leaders.
accountable, right? And the Department of Defense, in terms of the volume of money and authority, absolutely. But where I think this is, again, missing the point is there is a difference between the ability to cover and to have freedom to write whatever you want, which I am a staunch defender of, and the ability to say you get to come into our house. I don't get to go to the AP. I can't even go to, to the idea that you're saying you can come into our building, have free reign and access to all of
Not
this.
your building, it's our building.
It's our building, Sean.
Sure. Okay. Then go and name another building.
Here's what Pete Hegseth tweeted. Pentagon access is a privilege, not a right. So
access. It is.
It's not.
It's not.
Oh my God.
Not.
Credentialed press no longer
Not.
permitted to solicit criminal acts.
Sean, you sound like the White House Correspondents Association.
Yeah.
You say that you have a privilege to go into a right to go into any government building? Are you kidding me?
They're all the people's houses, not your house.
Let's go. Open them all up.
They are. It's
All right.
federal
All right. One
government.
more topic, and then to your questions. If you want the conversation, please raise your hand.
I happen to love America.
Yeah, I believe I love America, and I know that during times of war, and we're in a bunch of wars right now, undeclared, by the way, the Pentagon lies. That's history shows that. It happened in Vietnam. It's happened in every war since. The Pentagon lies. And if you don't, when it's not a separate discussion, because if you scale back the ability of the Pentagon press corps to cover the building, to expose lies, you do damage and danger to our democracy and the credibility of the military. That's what they're doing. Okay.
They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America.
And don't forget, you can now listen to the morning meeting and Two-Way Tonight on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.